he is the first British Pakistani to sign up with PFL. So a round of applause.
Haider Khan, FCC's middleweight title holder, is set for the prelims of Bellator's Road to Dubai event this January, facing Mustafa Abada Rashed Neda. With an impressive 8-1 record, Darth is ready to make his mark on January 25th.
People want to be entertained and see an exciting fight, so if we can entertain on that night, I'm sure they're going to give him another opportunity.
Do Q&As with the guests. But Riz, I'd like to thank you for your time. Heather, I wish you all the best in your onward journey. And Phil, thank you so much. So who's got a question? Thank you.
So I've got a question for the young man. How many hours a day do you train? And what's the regime? And what's the schedule?
To be honest, I've started to train that much now. I don't really count the hours. I just go to sessions and just when I'm tired, that's really when I stop training. So sometimes even my coach can tell me I overtrain. Sometimes it's 3 sessions a day, and then I'll jog just because I like to jog. And then obviously now I've started to get a bit smarter with it and understand that I'm going to run myself into a brick wall like that. So I do take some days off now. But really I just train like most athletes would, 2-3 times a day. Some skill work with the grappling, the striking, and then conditioning and stuff. Yeah, that's normally how training looks like.
Is it like strict or is it random?
When I'm in camp, yeah, it's very strict. Obviously, I think you can tell I'm not the smallest person, but I fight 84 kilogram, walk around at about 97 to 100 sometimes when I've let myself go a bit too much. But yeah, now it's very strict, obviously preparing for the 25th of January, dialing it down, everything to perfection, and then no cheat meals or anything.
So when you start making weight, how long before the fight is it when you start making your weight?
The gradual weight loss has already started, and so really it's about 10 weeks out to start cutting down calories and getting myself into the best shape possible.
He's asking you all those questions because he owns a feast. He wants to give you samosas and pakoras.
After the fight, inshallah, yeah.
Thanks. Inshallah, you'll do really well, inshallah. World champion future.
I'll bounce back to 100 kilo then after the fight.
Inshallah.
He wants to come in for a nice spread after.
So what's the toughest part of your career you've had to go through, your toughest challenge?
Toughest challenge so far is it was probably actually as an amateur is when I lost my grandma. We was away in the World Championships at the time with my mamu, and sadly we got the news that my nanny had passed away, so I didn't fight in the World Championships, but it put me in a pretty negative headspace for a while. Obviously something that you love that daily passing away and you felt like you weren't there, you know. You feel like you let yourself down, and I don't think you'd really ever forgive yourself for that. But I did have a conversation before my grandma did pass away, as we believe in Islam, that a person before they pass away feels like they know they're going to pass away, and they can't physically tell you. So I feel like there was a way that my nanny at the time was telling me, and now I reminisce on those words. I just want to do it proud because a lot of it was about this career. So that was probably the toughest time.
Cheers, thanks for sharing. I've got another question. What's the highest point of your career?
Highest point, yeah, it was probably be winning that title that I did on the British scene, because again it was accumulation of hard work, and I feel like it was kind of the ending of a journey now, and I wanted to take the next step. So far that's the highest point, but obviously going to set a new standard.
Any advice for other athletes in combat sport?
Yeah, like my coach said earlier, the mental battle is a very big thing. Like, even if you're not the best in the gym, just keep turning up and keep going, because hours that you put into the mat will show eventually. Not everything clicks straight away. Some people are faster learners and they take that for advantage and stuff. But if you are the ones that are struggling and stuff, just keep going and keep battling, and eventually, hopefully, it'll click. And even then, it might not be today or tomorrow, but down the line, things get better.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you. So I've got a few questions, but I'll keep it short. So my first question would be, how much your life has changed since you met Riz?
Alhamdulillah, it's changed a lot. I wouldn't be on stage talking right now. I'm quite an introverted person naturally, so he's brought me out my shell a bit, and then alhamdulillah, like you can see, it's a blessing. Like I said, I made the dua that when I went to Umrah, inshallah, that I'd be in this position, and Allah puts people in on your journey. And
Yeah,
I feel
God
like,
opens doors, yeah.
and I feel that's what Allah's done here. He's helped us both open doors and opportunities, and very much in a positive direction. Like saying, getting that first British Pakistani to be in the PFL is a big, big thing, and that's a big thanks to Riz.
Oh, fantastic. Another question. So there's a big chance ahead. I want to know how much of a unique character and how much of a killer instinct you can bring to the fight.
I have this weird thing, like I think we saw in the package there, I have a psycho look in my eyes according to Dean Garnett in the back, so expect me to go a bit nuts in the fight.
Thank you very much. It's not necessarily the nuts, but we want to see some of the fire coming from you. That's what it is.
Great event here. I've got two questions. One's for the coach. What would you say would be the best thing training together, and like what type of rewards would you get out of that, you know, working with him so closely?
Best things. I don't know, I feel like he always injures me every other week. How strong he is and how big he is. The best things, I don't know, I just love working with athletes that obviously you don't have to spoon feed them. He's doing all the little extra bits that you would expect someone who's going to make it to the top to do. Like, anytime I've been around someone who's got something, you know, what do you call it, that X factor, that star factor or whatever, they're never asked to do the extra bits. And like you heard him say before, in my opinion, he does overtrain, because he just doesn't want to leave any stone unturned. He doesn't want to think there's someone out there working harder than him. Like, we'll literally finish an hard session, like I mean a hard session, a fight team session, and I'll be going up to my office to pack up, and he's still on the treadmill for like 20, 30 minutes, just in a dark corner on his own. He is the guy who's like a coach's dream. You don't have to motivate him. You know, at times, sometimes, like the other day, he was training, he was still doing well, but it was subpar for him, and I said, "Oh, what's up with you?" And obviously, it was like his fourth session that day, and he is working hard, and he's just started cutting the calories now. So he's just a coach's dream. You know, he's going to go into January 25th in the best shape of his life, prepared the best he can to make a really big statement in his debut for PFL, and I think he's got a great fight as well for him. He's got a big guy who's going to come at him and start swinging, and I'm hoping he's going to get to show how he's refined his striking and refined his grappling, and going to put in a big performance on the day.
Cheers, thanks. And one for the big man. Getting to know you a bit more, who were your role models growing up, let's say in UFC? Which fighter would you look up to, and not try to emulate them, but someone you would, you know, try and copy, or who you would prefer to watch over the others?
Yeah, so my favourite fighter of all time is Georges St. Pierre. I always just loved, like I said, I feel like he was a fighter that left no stone unturned. He was a dedicated athlete. He had great fights, and he had setbacks in his career as well. Like he was a young prospect, lost to Matt Hughes, came back, had to get a few wins, armbarred him. And I always looked at that and I was like, yeah, that's the kind of guy, like, you have setbacks and you come back, and that's in terms of fighters. Then we had Anderson Silva, the GOAT, just he could move just like nobody else could move at the time. But that's in terms of fighters. But then I feel like as I got older, the more you look for inspiration, you stop looking at these athletes and stuff, and I started to value actually my dad a lot more when I started to look at my parents a lot more, what they do for me, because the hard work that my dad put in, my dad's not an athlete, but my dad, just to be the family man that he is and put a roof over your head and stuff, and you got to value that. And like, we had tough times, but my dad always came through it. My dad's journey from Pakistan to here is inspirational to me. And then again, like, my mum gave me a birthday card, I think this year, and it said, my du'as are for your dreams to come true. And that really reminisced with me, because I was like, for somebody to be so selfless, that they're worshipping God, and what they're thinking about is my dreams, when that's their time to ask for things from God. And I was like, yeah, those are things you don't see, and so that's now what I value more than anything.
So I've seen you come from the bottom up. Just a question I wanted to ask. A bit nervous now. So, in terms of growing up, obviously, me and you, we grew up together. I always wanted to know, in terms of like my dad.
Take your time, Peter.
His question was, what do you think he's done? And your mum, Jojo, what do you think they would have thought of you right now?
That's a question that goes through my head daily, obviously. Sitting down with my mum, we have these conversations a lot, and obviously I don't think everybody knows, but my little name in the family was Chicken, because I was quite a scrawny little wiry kid, so my mum was always used to pick on me like that, and stuff like that. But my mum always said my mum Wafan, which is Hashim's father, who sadly passed away when we were younger kids, always used to say that he's going to do something and do us proud, and alhamdulillah, I feel like they would like to see what I'm doing now, and they would like to see that I'm doing them proud. But that's one of the things why I do it for, because like I said before, my nanny and stuff, I want to do them proud, my mum and Manny proud. Like, we grew up and obviously we saw them pass away, and they never got to see what we could achieve. They couldn't see what a great man my cousin Hashim's been come here. I'm sure his dad would definitely be proud of him, and I feel like that's all we could do. We've tried to stay the nice path. Like, I went to university, the first male from my family to do that, because I wanted to do them proud and set the sample, because I knew that's what my mum would want me to do for my younger cousin Hashim, because he's younger than me, to show him the path to go there, and alhamdulillah that worked. So the key word there is obviously proud. That's what I've always wanted to do. But,
Hi, Haider. Question for you. You obviously devote a lot of time to training, including striking and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. What percentage do you devote to purely striking? That's the first question.
probably be 50-50. Like, yeah, it's just an equal split, balanced fighter. Yeah.
50-50. And off the striking, which martial art do you emulate? Muay Thai, kickboxing, or karate?
Yeah, that's a mixture. So I have a Muay Thai coach. He's on the Tracksuit Alliance. I have a boxing coach up in Liverpool, and then I have like somebody that I do a bit of kickboxing. So you just mix it up and work on all aspects, because the fight game, you can be in close. You need the clinch, you need the elbows, you need the knees, you need the boxing. Keep it long, jab him, and then you need to mix up to your wrestling as well sometimes.
And off the striking, what would you say is your strength?
I'd say elbows and knees, to be honest. Yeah, I kind of like this. It sounds a bit weird. I like to cut people in fights with elbows. So, yeah.
Salam, Heather. This question is mainly for the coach, really, and I suppose yourself, Heather. How do you see the sport evolving in the next 5 to 10 years, given how much is really expanded over the last 5 or 10 years? And Heather, what part do you see yourself in that over the next 5 or 10 years?
The next 5 or 10 years, I think obviously PFL is coming along now, and and the UFC's got something to kind of compete with. So it's always good to have a competitor going up against you, and obviously it's massive already now. It's going into the mainstream. You heard Riz himself there saying, you know, predominantly he's your boxing man coming into MMA. It's attracting a lot of people now, because it is growing and growing and growing. And, you know, when I originally first got into it, the biggest thing that, like, people used to say in the UFC, was it's the fastest growing sport in the world. It's the fastest growing sport in the world. And it seems to just keep going and keep going and growing and growing and growing. So what I'm hoping is there's even more money in it for the athletes and obviously the coaches as well. Like, but it keeps going and going and going. And like I said, like when me and Dean started this together, we used to say, we're going to see the world doing this. We're going to, you know, making our passion travel and see the world and open all these doors for us. And I just see that keep happening over the next 5 to 10 years. More doors opening and it getting bigger and bigger. And and better.
Phil, Joe, the Middle Eastern money, that will open the doors as well, more money in
Yeah,
the
I can't wait. We cannot wait. It's coming in already, but there's a lot more to come in, isn't there, from the Middle East?
Heather's fights in Dubai, the last PFL fight was in Riyadh that Brendan fought as a friend of mine. So big money in it now. With Saudis are putting big money, Dubai's big money.
Massive money. Like I said, he's got. I was very surprised and obviously impressed with what Riz been able to do. He has actually signed a really good contract with the PFL, almost like a development contract. And like you said, there's a lot of money in it now, and 4 good fights for him. He's in £1 million tournament, and
Heather's in safe hands with Riz. Riz's nickname, by the way, is Riz is the Biz. That's his name. He makes things happen. He's a very dynamic, organised individual.
One for you, coach, and you, Heather. So we all know it's not a surprise that you've got a loss in your record. Sorry, I have to be that guy. So mentally, Heather, where were you when you had that loss? I know half the lads weren't there because they were late, so we couldn't even comfort you. But what did you do mentally and physically that changed? And for your coach, what was different when you went back in the gym on Monday?
No, yeah, so obviously me and Phil have quite a good relationship in terms of he's coached me for years now. He literally rang me that night, to be honest, and was just checking up on me, seeing if I was all right, and we're just like, we go again, and that's the mentality that we kind of took. We just like, yeah, we go again. It's part of fight game. If you watch MMA, most of the great fighters have losses early on in the careers and they go on streaks. Even some of the guys that rank top now, they lost on the regional scene before they end up going on to world championship level. Like we can even say Kamaru Usman got choked out quite early on in his career and stuff like that, and then he went on and win 20 fights. Like, it just happens. It's part of life. Like I said earlier, when you go on about religion and stuff like that, it's written for you. It happens. I worked hard. There was no doubt there. But I did run away from it a little bit because I had a bit of an inflated ego of myself at the time, probably, where I thought, yeah, I'm very good. And still believe I was, but it was just things, you have to get lessons learned, lessons taught, and that humbled me definitely to maybe work on the mental side a bit more before the fight and just be, I have to treat every man like they are a threat rather than just like, I'm just going to steamroll and run through them because it's me. No, they're posing a threat, they want to hurt me as well, and that's what I've switched up.
I felt he learnt a lot from that fight, but like over the years, obviously he was young and hungry, and I mean like very hungry to do something in the sport, and I was constantly trying to slow him down. Even when he turned pro, I was like, no, stay amateur a little bit, get some more experience, and he was like, no, I feel like I'm ready to go pro, and everything he'd said up to then, he was right, and he was right to go pro as well. When he went pro, I said, we'll see if you're ready to go pro then. I tried to find him the hardest fighter I could find, and I found him a really good guy who'd been in there with some good guys, and he was underestimated, and he passed it, obviously, and he was ready. And even at the time when he got that potential matchup, I didn't even want to take it to him because I knew, I thought it was a little bit early. I said, they've offered you this fight. He's a good, savvy veteran, and he knows how to win fights. I said, this is a fight we'd probably taken like another 3 or 4. Let's keep gaining some experience and growing over time because you're still very young and what have you. And he was like, oh no, that excites me. That's going to get me up in the morning. That's going to motivate me. Like, I can do that. And I believed him, and he could do it, you know what I mean? But I think he's learnt a lot from that fight going forward. You heard him say there, I've started listening to my body as I'm getting older and I'm getting wiser. You know, it's little things that you're picking up along the way, and sometimes a loss can highlight a good few things that you were potentially overlooking or not paying attention to. And I think now I would take that fight again all day long. Let's just say that I would chase that fight all day long. I think he's made so many improvements, what I've seen in the gym, and obviously he's been training. You can chat to him about it yourself, but he's been training with guys who I personally think are on a lot of higher standard and higher level then that loss, and you know, they're giving him the praise that he just hasn't quite shown inside the cage yet. So I'm looking forward to him showing all them improvements that he's done since that fight. I know he's had fights since then, but I still don't think you've seen the best of him. He can knock people out when he lands. When he starts relaxing in there and realises he can hit people with his hands, and he starts showing, he'll open up his wrestling and his grappling a little bit more. So I'm looking forward to seeing, off the back of that loss, exactly where he is when he comes up, because he's coming up against another opponent that's meant to be of that calibre. And I believe you're going to see the best version of him on that night, on January 25th.
Phil, I've got one question for you. Have you got a timeline for Haider to go for a world title? What age, how many fights? 10 fights, 2 years, how long?
He's just signed for the second biggest promotion in the world, trying to be the biggest promotion in the world. So he's basically saying he's going for it now. So obviously it's there. If he's on that development deal with them, they're going to try and build him up. I mean, you look at the guy they've just given him, he's on a 4-fight win streak in the PFL. And I think, for me, when I got showed the opponent and we watched them, I was made up. I thought it was the best option we could have got. Because he wins that and he makes a big statement and he jumps up pretty quick, and I'd be interested to see if he wins this fight and he wins it well, what the next opponent would be, and that'll tell you where they think he's going to go and how quick it's going to be. So it'll be down to how he performs. People want to be entertained and see an exciting fight. So if he can entertain on that night, I'm sure they're going to give him another opportunity. And like I said, if he does really, really well, 2025, and they are looking to open up a middleweight £1 million tournament, I'm sure if he's made a really good claim for it in 25, he'll be in that tournament. And then
I hope he gets there, inshallah.
So the best advice I've been given is a bit hard, because I've got a lot of advice from a lot of great people. Like I said, I've got my family here who are always trying to keep me on the right path. Coaches here who always, the little after gym talks, there's always a little nugget of knowledge in them. I wouldn't really have any specifics, but just you absorb as much knowledge as possible, and you can absorb that knowledge from anywhere. You shouldn't basically not have an ego. That's one of the biggest pieces of knowledge I could give anybody, is especially in this sport, and not even in sport, in business, everything in life, family matters and stuff. You shouldn't have an ego. You should be able to look at everything from every angle, every side, and be able to formulate an opinion rather than just staying steadfast to your opinion, because even even in our coach and student relationship, there would be probably things that we don't always agree on, like how to approach fights and this and that, and you got to look at it from their angle and how they're observing the fights and stuff. And even my father, typically we always have a little argument or something about something, but most of the time he's right. So yeah, just always look at both sides. Don't have an ego when you're making decisions, and you'll come to the right outcome.
So, Riz, do you want to make the announcements?
Yeah, just a couple of points I want to raise this evening. You probably picked up in between some of the conversations we're having. Haider will be making his debut at the Coca-Cola Arena in Dubai on the 25th. The announcement is going to be made official by PFL, most likely on Tuesday. So again, just to reiterate what Nabil said earlier, please do not post any announcement or anything to do with Haider turning pro with PFL until at least Wednesday at the earliest. So that's the first one. The second item is, as you're aware, Inspire Capital Sports has been working with a number of athletes over the past 5 or 6 years. And I'm proud to announce that we have another one of our athletes, a very decorated Team GB fighter who signed up with Haider Khan of Matchroom, and he'll be making his debut in January. So, Connor, can you just come up to the stage? Do you want to say a few words?
So I just want to say that a little bit of update. The debut will be hopefully in February the 15th at Co-op Live. Hopefully that comes around. But I'm excited to be working with ICS, and I hope you'll follow my journey. And I hope I can be as big an athlete as my brother here. But yeah, so.
Connor, just to let you into a little secret, we went to that dinner a few weeks ago, and I think Danish mentioned to Haider en route that you were going to be there, and he said yes. So he's a fan. Connor, debut fight on the Haider's debut will be on the 25th. Tickets will be available online. You'll be able to find the ticket information on Haider's or Pod Lounge or ICS Instagram links from probably Wednesday. It's going to be a sellout show. It's a big show in Dubai, and like I say, whoever can make it, you're welcome. And obviously, this is the start of the journey for Haider, and we hope to be working with you for many years.
Inshallah.